Hi guys, it's Josh, your host from Recovery Talks 24/7. I've got an amazing guest with me here today, and his name's James, and he's just going to be able to share a bit about his story, his life story of where he's come from and where he is today. James, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, man, I'm all right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on to my show today. I just want you to kind of share a bit about yourself and where you've been.
So from the start, yeah?
Yeah.
So, yeah, my name's James. I'm a recovering addict. I've been an addict from a real young age. I'm also recovering from a lifetime of crime, mental health issues. I've got PTSD, it's complex PTSD. I've got ADHD, dyslexia. I can get a little bit depressed at times. So it's just like, so I'm in recovery from all that. Hopefully we can talk about a bit of that today.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go, innit? So I'm from Birmingham.
Awesome. Brummy,
yeah. Yeah, so I'm from Birmingham. I grew up in a place called King's Standing, North Birmingham. Like my earliest memories are, I've probably got one like good memory from my earliest memories, and then some of them are quite painful. Like my earliest memories of my dad is visiting him in prisons. Like the earliest memory I've actually got with my dad was being in this car with him. It was a brown car. Never forget it. The key, man, used to start it in the middle. Like the key ignition was there, but my dad used to start it with a screwdriver. And I remember being in that car with him, and then like men in white shirts come in, and then my dad was gone. Like, and I remember going to visit him in prison. Like, went to Strangeways to visit him. HMP Birmingham, they're the two jails I can remember visiting him in. And then it was like really difficult because I didn't understand why I couldn't stay there with my dad. Like I've got 3 brothers and 1 sister, and we was fucking naughty, mate. You know what I mean? Like we used to fuck about. I remember we used to play pranks on the neighbours and things like that. I remember one prank that we pulled when I was really young, mate. Fucking, it was snowing, yeah.
Yeah.
So my older brothers, I'm the youngest. So my older brothers, have said sit in the middle of the road and scream, but they've covered all the road with water, so it's turned into ice. So then as people are running out to me, they're all just slipping over. Like, you know what I'm like, and this is still in me now. This is a behaviour that I've had from a really young age. I remember another prank I pulled on my mum. Like, she had this statue of a bird. So I've pulled the freezer drawers out, you know, the metal that look like cages. So I pulled one of them out, and I put the bird in the middle of the garden and pretended I've caught a bird. And I was like, screaming. Like my dad, like when he was out of prison, like I always remember he used to sing these really rude fucking nursery rhymes to me. Like really mad ones. I think I get a lot of my sense of humour from my dad. My mum, that's where I get my love and sense of safety from. Like my most traumatic memory from an early age is my granddad was decorating the house, and we was doing what lads do, and we was messing about. So it was winter time because it was dark early. We got sent to play out to get out my granddad's way, and so me and my oldest brother, Anthony, have decided to play a little prank on my brother Michael. So he's at the road. He's a bit more timid than me and Anthony Michael was. So he's at the road, and we've just run across the road and left him. And then when he's come out after us, he's got hit by a car, and I can remember it as clear as day. He's hit the bonnet, then hit the windscreen, then flew back, then the car's gone over him. And I just remember screaming, and there was a massive change in me then. I started to get really angry. Started to get really jealous of him as well when he was in hospital. Because I was the youngest, you know what I mean? Up until that point, my mum like really. I spent a lot of time with my mum. Like she would. I didn't go to nursery. She would give me money to stay at home with her. Yeah, but then obviously he's poorly, he's in hospital. He was in hospital for a long time and he had to learn to walk again and all that. So he was then getting all the attention. I didn't like it. I would lash out with my anger. Like, not, I know now that obviously that's left me with PTSD. That's where that started for me. Yeah, and then like obviously like school, like I couldn't get on in school. Like I couldn't keep up in school. Like everyone would have their work done, and I haven't even done a couple of sentences. This was when they had blackboards. I was always fighting as well. Like I used to always hang around with older lads, and like one thing that was instilled to me from a kid is, you know, if my brothers, I fight to the death. Like that's how I was taught. Yeah, so I was always fighting at that school. There was a group of older lads, probably 16. I'm probably about 6 at this point. And I was heavily influenced by them. So they would give me kickings, and like I'd cry and that, and they'd say to me like, "Don't cry, you're a soldier." Like, and they used to tell me that they was toughening me up. When they used to get me to do things like they'd get me through windows, I'd run through and open front doors. I'd shoplift with like, because I was only small, people wouldn't expect it from me, so I could get away with it.
Yeah.
And if I did get caught, you know what I mean, what's going to happen? So like I started doing all that stuff. Plus my dad was a criminal as well, so I'd see. My dad was a fencer, like, so he would buy stuff off like what they used to call earners, which were people that went out doing ram raids, commercial burglaries, anything basically. But then they would sell the stuff to my dad cheap, and then my dad would sell it off. So so we always had stolen stuff about. I used to watch my dad how he dealt with people, and I used to look at him and think, I'm going to be just like you. Yeah, like, so that's like I'm probably up to about 6, 7, 8, them sort of ages. This is the sort of stuff that I used to get up to. I remember my first encounter with drugs was, I would have been between them ages. I know I started smoking cannabis regularly from the age of 8. Before that, my first experience with drugs was cannabis, yeah. And I didn't know at the time what was going on. It's only looking back at it now. Like, I would wake up giggling with a cloud of smoke. Now, my oldest brother was giving me blowbacks in my sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to it. And then I'd sit up. I really like looked up to my brother, and he was my hero. He always had my back, and you know, like, I used to follow him everywhere. So I just wanted to be doing what he was doing. And yeah, I'd sit up with him every night, and like, he showed me how to roll and stuff like that. So I used to nick fags off my mum, and I used to like smoke fags. I didn't know at that time what I was actually doing. What I can remember is I'd be really confused, giggling. By the time I was 8, I would then steal cannabis off my dad and smoke it. My dad would leave nubs in the ashtray, I'd nick them and smoke it, and I started doing it now. I knew what I was doing. Like I say, I knew what I was doing. I was just doing what I knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you put this on top. Like, I didn't do well in school because I'd smoke it before I went to primary school. Around about this age as well, that's when my brother got on heroin. I remember one night my brother used to run away from home, like, and I used to really struggle with that. And one night my mum and dad have noticed he's gone, so we've gone looking for him, and we found him in Erdington, like in his tower block, and it was all just people lying down on the floor. There was all obviously there was all on gear in it, so there was all just gouge. And I remember finding my brother there. I remember him being in the back of the car with me, and he's gouching, and like, I'm just looking at him thinking, why is he so sleepy? Why is he so sleepy? He couldn't wake him up, shake him, and he wouldn't wake up. So around about then, that's when my mum and dad decided to move away from Birmingham to try and stop that. So they've moved us to this town called Tamworth, yeah. And, you know, when I lived in Birmingham, I always had family around, extended family. So it was really difficult going up there, not knowing anyone. Like when we was in Birmingham, we used to move every couple of years as well, and it was always difficult having to start again everywhere.
Yeah.
But this time it was even more difficult because I didn't fit in there, I didn't speak like them. Like the primary school that I went to up there was like, I did not get on well. Like I was just having to fight all the time. I say having to fight, I had to fight.
Yeah.
I was being like bullied verbally, being called names, being teased. I was a very sensitive child. And I took that personal. I couldn't go back and tell my dad, like, because I'd get in trouble for that. I'd get in trouble for allowing that to happen. So I used to have to take it on myself, and I would fight the other kids, and yeah, I'd fight the other kids. But then it was like it was a no-win situation for me, because then I'd get in trouble for fighting. You know what I mean? But it's like I had these mad concept of like I wanted to be a man. Like I saw how, and like I thought that's what men do, to fight, to stand up. Do you know what I mean? Like it was also them kids when they was giving me kickings, certain things that they used to say to me, like stay on your feet, make sure you fight, don't let anyone. Do you know what I mean? It was drummed into me. So it's just, yeah. This is when I was diagnosed then with ADHD and dyslexia, because I couldn't keep up in the class. I'd get embarrassed, so because like I couldn't keep up, I'd just mess about. And then when I was called out by a teacher, I'd lose my head with the teacher. I even attacked teachers in primary school. I'd hit my teacher with chairs. I'd throw chairs at him. So I got put into isolation. Like I used to have to do all my work at the headmaster's office. I wasn't allowed to go into classes with other kids. I wasn't allowed to eat with the other kids, and I wasn't allowed to go out and play time with the other kids. I was kept on my own. I think that had a really, like looking back at it, I think that's where I found it safer to isolate myself.
Yeah.
Because that's what the adults around me considered safe for me. They're the people that as a kid you look for guidance.
Yeah.
It also affected my social skills, like making friends, things like that. So that's how I finished primary school. And in all this time as well, I'm still smoking cannabis. Even when I moved to Tamworth, it was easily available to me. All I had to do was steal it off my dad. So, like, and I'm still shoplifting and everything, just doing all that sort of stuff. And when I went to secondary school, it's just the same old routine with me, fighting, thinking that's how you impress people.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep up in the classes and whatever, and like I always felt like I was fit because of it, because of my disability. And so people say things like, you know, like nickname for Brummies is Dummy Brummies. I used to take that I used to take that really personal, man. I'd get tearful, then I'd get angry, then I'd attack. But it was always because I reacted badly. It was always me that got in trouble. Again, like they put me in classes for a bit at secondary school, but again, then isolation. I weren't allowed at break, and I used to just live in my imagination. Like I'd sit there and I used to imagine what it'd be like to be able to go and play with the other kids. I used to imagine, like I was really like, so on this one hand, yeah, I was this really, like what people would consider a problem child, violent. I got all these problems.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, inside, yeah, I was really sensitive and romantic as well. I used to sit fantasize about like running into a girl's arms, like you used to see on films, and you know, and finding a girl, like, and I think it's because I never felt loved. You know what I mean? So that's what I was looking for. So it's like it's really like massive confusion there. I don't think I was ever able to be me. I used to have to be what I thought people wanted from me. And the more I did that, the more of me died, the more of that good side of me died. I've always had good and bad in me. One thing that I used to do when I was at that school is before I went to school, I'd go into QuickSave with a Holdall, and I'd fill it with chocolate. So then, like, and I would sell it in school, like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
doing what I saw my dad do, making
Yeah.
money. I had to sort of fend for myself. Like, obviously, I'd get food and that at home, but like, if I wanted clothes, I never used to play with toys as a kid. I wasn't interested in that. But if I wanted things, I used to have to get it myself, and the cannabis. And then, like, in secondary school, I was introduced to crack cocaine. Like, so I'm 13 at this point now when I got introduced to that.
Yeah.
And I remember smoking it. I didn't like it, but I did it again straight away. And I look back at it and I don't think I ever liked crack, but I could not stop doing it. It's just what I can't. You know what I'm on about.
Yeah.
A lot of people know what I'm on about, but then people that haven't lived it won't understand that. Like, you get like probably about 10 seconds of fucking like pure, is it euphoria?
Yeah.
And then it's just fucking shit.
So
I'm doing that, yeah, and I'm getting paranoid now. I'm carrying knives around with me. Like, I felt safe with knives because I didn't feel safe because I was paranoid for everyone was out to get me. And then when I was 14, I got introduced to heroin. And I remember the first time that I smoked that, I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders up until this point. Like, I felt like everybody. I just felt unloved and I felt worthless. I felt shit. Like, I used to contemplate suicide at that age.
Wow.
And I used to fantasize about killing myself. I used to think, who would come to my funeral? Who would miss me? Who wouldn't miss me? So it's like, so then I've smoked this heroin on the phone, and like the feeling it gave me, I just felt like I was wrapped up in cotton wool. Didn't give a fuck. Say what you want about me, I don't care. Didn't have the ability to get angry then. Quickly got addicted to it. I remember, like, when I figured out that I was addicted to it, people said to me, "You get addicted." I thought it's never going to happen to me. My brother was addicted to it, so I know not to get addicted to it. But you got no fucking control. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think I can control everything. So, like, I'd got arrested. By this time as well, I'm categorised as a persistent young offender. Like, got a big red PYO on my criminal record. Yeah, so it's like, I've been arrested and I'm in the police station. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What's going on with me, man? Like, felt so agitated, angry, all that anger, and then thinking about the things that I'd been doing through much, like, just like, I couldn't handle it. Like, I just could not handle it. I didn't know what was going on. Kicking off in the police station, like, smashing my cell up, all that. Didn't know what was going on. At that point, my dad's come and got me. I've got bail, and I've gone out straight away. I've just waited till my dad's gone to the pub. I've jumped out the window, gone out, and I've got some more some gear, and just instantly felt okay. Just like, that's all gone. And then at that point, I knew I was fucked. I knew it had me by the balls. So, like, I've carried on for a bit, but it's just like I didn't want to be doing that. Like, by this time as well, yeah. Back then, this is like the really late 90s, start of the 2000s, and by this time, like, there's people that, like, used to go out looking for people on heroin and beat them up and spit at them and smash their houses up. So, like, whenever I'd see these people, this would happen to me. So it just smashed all my confidence. Like, I'd get spat at, called a smackhead, smack rat. And it just added to that, fucking the world don't care, so I don't care. And the one night I couldn't take it no more. So I've broke down. I've wrote my mum and dad a letter telling them that, like, I was addicted to heroin and I don't know what to do, begging them to get me help. I've then decided against giving them that letter. I've put it in my jeans pocket, and I don't know why. I've woke up the next morning and I can hear my mum and dad arguing, crying. And I'm thinking, like, what's going on here? And like, my dad used to give me a good beating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've gone in and he's told, like, they've said, like, they found the letter. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get battered now. And at this point as well, I've already been expelled from school and whatever. I'm thinking, I'm going to get battered. But there was just, because of like what they saw my brother go through, they just, and you know what, they did what they could to get me help. Like, I forgot to mention as well, before this point as well, I've been seeing child therapists and whatever, but I just could not open up. I didn't have the ability to talk about all this stuff that had been going on.
Yeah.
They've took me to this place. It was called Level 3. I'm about 15 at this point. And yeah, I've gone to the doctor. They've took me to a doctor. I've met this drug worker. I remember her name was Jackie, man. She's a lovely woman. Like, she knew how to deal with me and whatever.
Yeah.
And she could get through to me to a certain degree. She got me on a Subutex script and a diazepam script. And I've done all right for a little bit, but it's just like, I started abusing the Subutex, I started snorting them, started taking more diazepam, and before you knew it, like, I was just selling the Subutex, getting care, and just I've been kicked out of my family home now, so I'm in a hostel, and it's just things are getting worse. Shortly after that, I've got my first prison sentence. You know, and I thought I was a fucking lad, or I did at this point. I thought I could handle myself and whatever, and I could to a certain degree. But you take that fucking bad kid, like that fucking, like, I got my sentence, yeah, mate, and I was sobbing, like, from the courts all the way to the prison. I was sobbing. I could not stop crying. I was like a snivelling baby. Like, I was so scared. Like, it's like I've quickly buried that, like, fucking, and just switched into somebody else when I got through that prison gate, like, and started thinking I was Mr. Big Shot and all that. And you know what happens when you go to prison for the first time? They take your identity from you. Yeah, you know, your name's taken from you. You're not called by your name no more. You're given a number. You're given a plain grey tracksuit, and that's it. That's you then become a number. That's how I see it. I'm thrown into this prison, HMYO at Brinsford, and mate, it was fucking tough in there as a kid. I should have been at school, you know what I mean, but I wasn't. I was in fucking prison. Like, I was fighting a bit, so I got put on a wing for people that are unmanageable, and I got padded up with this fucking lad who just made my life hell. Like, he used to torture me. He used to burn me with cigarettes. I've got scars all over my body from where he used to hold roll-ups, burn me. I've got scars there, like, all over my body. He would stab me and poke me with pens. Like, he'd twist my joints and stuff like that, and he'd try and get me to sing out the window. Like, you've been in prison, you know that sketch. Like, but I would refuse to do it. Like, something comes from me. You can't save your face and your ass at the same time. Do you know what I mean? But I just, like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had too much pride. Like, I'm not. Nobody's telling me to do that. I'll take the beating. I can take that all day long. I've been taking that all my fucking life. You're not gonna. It was hurting me, obviously, but and do you know what? Like, I don't know whether I should say this, but I'm gonna. This is what that did to me. Like, it got to a point where I started planning my revenge on this lad, and this is like, my life could have went a very different way at this point. So when I got this sentence, I'd got 18 months for shoplifting and carrying a knife, and my solicitor appealed the sentence. So, like, I'm telling you, you'll get why I'm telling you that now. So, like, the one night I'm planning to do him in his sleep. Like, I've nicked the razor from the shower that morning. I took the blade out, put the cap back on, give him back the razor, and I've kept the blade, and I've put it in a toothbrush and you know the one. And like, I'm there trying to build up the courage to just cut him, you know, to put a stop to it. Now, anybody that's appealed in the sentence will know that you do not find out until the day of your appeal.
Yeah.
The morning, I'll open the door, say, pack your kit, you go and court.
Yeah.
And that morning, as I'm sitting there, like getting ready to do this, the doors opened. Kelly, pack your kit, you're going to court. Know what you're on about? I ain't got no court cases pending. And they're like, Stafford Crown Court of Appeal. So yeah, so I've gone to court and whatever, and I come back and it's just like that lad was gone out the cell, and there was a new lad in there that I got on with, and like, and I managed to get through the rest of that sentence. I swore I'd never take drugs again. I've got out, mate. I was back on it within a couple of days. Like, yeah, and that's how. Like, and I'm shoplifting, I'm burgling houses, I'm doing commercial burglaries, robberies as well, selling drugs. That's how my life has been. That's just that pattern: crime, jail, drugs, crime. Like, it's the only way I know how to survive. I think I've had one job in the past when I was about 18, 19.
Yeah.
I don't want to go, like, I think I went a little bit deep, but like,
no, that's all right.
So it's like my 20s, yeah. So I'm probably like, by the time I've got out of this prison sentence and whatever, I've had a couple of years out, and I'm back in, and then I'm out in my 20s, and crimes are getting more progressive, more prison. It's like in and out of prison, in and out of prison, in and out of prison. Like, and just like I'm injecting, and I'm fucking like looking after myself, like let myself go. Yeah, and like I say, like there's more like all of that side of the crime. It's all I knew. It's what I did. It's how I survived. Like,
so obviously with the story that you're sharing, so obviously there's going to be listeners on here, you know, and so far I'm like literally like, wow, it's amazing that you're sitting here today, you know, through what you've been through. And from what I'm hearing so far, so obviously, you know, you don't have to worry about going too deep, because I like it. I like hearing stuff like that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of listeners out there that are going to want to hear the realness. It's about being real and being raw. The most powerful thing is that you've now gone through all of that. You're still sitting here today. You're now starting to make a change in regards to getting yourself clean and everything. So where did you go through? How did you get through that?
So I'll tell you what got me to the point of where I first made an attempt at recovery, and it was the death of my cousin. He overdosed in Birmingham city centre, and yeah, he fucking, like, he's found with no trainers on, like, fucking on the streets, and like, and I felt guilty about it. I'd saw him a week or two before. I'd just come out of a shop with loads of Nick perfumes, and he wanted to come with me, and I says no. Do you know what I mean? And I like, it's a question that I like, okay, I should have brought him with me. But anyway, by now there's this police officer in Birmingham called Stuart Toogood. And he'd knocked my door before, yeah, and he's gone, look, like, is there any way that we can help you? I'm like, no, no, go away.
Yeah,
that was my attitude towards the police. But by the time, just after my cousin had passed away, like, it helped somebody that I knew, and I thought maybe this ain't too good to be true. And it's like, I just remembered it, and I phoned him. And then he's brought me, he's spoke to me on the phone, like, I've told him what's happened and that, and he's so he's brought me to meet this woman from the co-op called Hannah. And like, I've spoke to her, to be honest with her, like, yeah, I've stole from your businesses, I've been doing it all, like, as far back as I can remember. She asked a bit about, like, what my my childhood, and just sort of had a little chat with her, and she agreed to pay for me to go into rehab there and then.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, yeah, Stuart, make it happen. And the co-op funded it. So this is like 2018, this is. Yeah. I've gone into rehab, and I didn't have a clue where I was going, you know what I mean? I knew it was rehab, yeah, but I thought I was going in to chill. I thought I was going to chill, there was going to bring meds to my door when I was poorly, you know, like, maybe like massages, jacuzzis.
It's going to be like a getaway.
Yeah. Like I get there, mate, and it's like, you can't, mate, you can't swear, you can't like do a lot of stuff, you got to sit up straight. It was like, it's like
a boot camp.
A little boot camp, do you know what I mean? It was militant. And like being the life that I've come through, I'm like, these ain't going to get me to conform to what they want me to do.
Yeah.
So I just made it hard on myself, mate. They used to have this point system in there where you'd get 2 points for swearing, you get 2 points for leaving a cup down. Mate, it was ridiculous. And it's just like, I'd get points here and I'd just start going off my head at them, do you know what I mean? Like, do you think I care about this, mate? What are you going to do? Like, and so then the consequences of these points are you wash up after like 20 odd people, 20 to 30 people could be eating in there in one day. And you've got to wash up after them, like, so 4 times a day. Like, and still, like, I'm rattling as well, so I'm going through a detox and I'm having to do all this and like, still that, you know, that like what I was on about when they tried to get me to sing out the window in prison, like, still had that pride in me, like people would offer to help me. I'm like, no, you're not helping me. You think these are going to break me? No. And it's like, got through the detox, I was listening and that, like, I couldn't get my head around like the groups, like, you know, it's like everyone hugging and that, and I'm like, mate, just stay away from me, I don't need your hugs. And it's because I felt shit about myself, you know, like, look, I've been telling you about the stuff that I didn't trust nobody. So it's like I would sit there and listen, and I would talk to a certain degree, but I'd never like talk about like what was actually affecting me. I would try and give this persona that everything was fine, that I was happy, that it was, you know, everything was grand and clean now, life's amazing. But it wasn't, because all that stuff like is haunting me every night. I'm going to sleep and I'm dreaming about it, and like, and then I'm getting the feelings of anger, like I'm hyper vigilant as well, like it's a symptom of my PTSD. So like every little sound like has me on edge, and like it's PTSD. The best way to describe PTSD is you're living in constant fear. Like, it can get good at some points, but the majority of the time there's a certain level of fear in me. And that's how I was in there. I've got through it, and this woman, one thing I want to mention as well, this woman Hannah, like, she not only paid for my treatment, she used to come visit me every few weeks. Like, she'd come see how I was getting on, and I used to really look forward to them visits. It confused me to why she had done it. I'd never had anybody like treat me like that act of kindness, that act of compassion, and it's like, it confused me. It rocked my core belief system, like, and it needed that. It started to show me, but you know, as you know, that ain't my story of staying clean. That's when I was introduced into recovery. I've completed everything basically, and then relapsed, and I've gone back out for another 3 years, and 18 months of that was spent in prison. 18 months of it was spent in like probably the worst relationship I've ever been in, which just brought me to my knees, and brought me to the point of like I've tried to commit suicide many times, but this is the worst one that I did. Like, at this point I was broken. I tried to hang myself, and I kept loosening the rope, so then I've had a knife in my pocket, so then I've cut my wrist to the bone. I ended up having to have like 8 hours worth of plastic surgery on my tendons sewn together. It took me a long time to be able to use my hand again, to learn to use my hand. And you know, when I come round after that surgery, you know what my first thought was? Where can I get some drugs? Shit, look at my hand. How am I going to use my hand? Like, how am I going to smoke my drugs? How am I going to write? How am I going to work? How am I going to use my drugs? You know,
that's all you cared about.
That's all I cared about, mate. And like, I'm honest like that. I did not give a fuck about anything. Like,
so obviously you've gone to get the support from this lady. She's funded you to go into rehab, which is absolutely amazing. And it's great that you was being able to be honest and just say, you know, I've done it. You only just got introduced to rehab. For a lot of people that do get introduced to rehab for the first time ever, and they've definitely, they come either from your sort of background or people that have never experienced being told what to do, it's difficult, isn't it? And it's quite, to me, and you'll probably agree, it's quite rare that you will see a lot of people that will just stick it out. There's a few times that people have to go out and come back. So obviously you went out, you relapsed, you've admitted that you had to go around a little bit to then come to realization to go, do you know what? And the term I always use, especially I've been using it with the listeners on here, is when did the penny drop for you? When did you realize, do you know what? I need to stop this now. Like, I can't do this anymore, because there's probably someone on there right now. That might be sitting there going, do you know what? I still got another time in me to go round and roundabout and go through it again. But there must have been a time when the penny dropped for you.
A couple of attempts was made on my life. I got attacked with a hammer. My mum witnessed that. Like, I got hit 3 times in the back of the head with a hammer. And like, when my mum's crying and that, I'm just looking at her like, what are you crying for? Like, and then after, I'm like, am I really that cold? Like, I couldn't put myself in her shoes, what it was like to witness your baby be attacked with a hammer. Shortly after that, then I'm out shoplifting, and this police officer stopped me, called Sharon. Woman saved my life that day, because like, I don't know, man. I just looked at her, and she had a beautiful aura. Like, I couldn't see, like, it's just like she's, and then she started to explain to me about the offender to rehab. I'm like, I've already been through it. Yeah. Like, but I'm still like, I still feel worthless and whatever. So I'm like, listen, I don't deserve your help. Go and help someone else. Thank you, but go and help someone else. She's like, can you just please have a chat with me? And I'm like, you're wasting your time. I'm gonna die out here. Go and help someone else. And she was like, just have a chat with me. And she's like, by now she's figured out who I was. She figured out that I was part of the offender to rehab when it was a pilot program. Like, cause she'd recognised me, that's why she stopped me. And like, we've sat down, we've had a coffee, and she just kept saying to me, you're worth more than this. Like, you're worth more than this. And I was just like, I agreed to meet up with her again. Like, at this point, I'm still not convinced to have another attempt at it. I thought, I've tried rehab, it hasn't worked. I'm gonna try something else. I didn't know what to try. Like, I'm just trying to like I was thinking I knew everything about recovery. In actual fact, I didn't know fuck all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've met up with her a couple of times, and then there's another in between this. There's another attempt made at my life I was shot at, and like that's when I decided, that's it. I'm going through with this. I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to see how far I can get. And I've done these pre-ab groups, done a few of them. Then she's got me into rehab, and like, I've gone in there, and you know what? Yeah. At that point, I was that broken. I was just doing whatever they said, and like, I'd listen to them this time, and I tried to behave myself. Not always, but like, I'd still do my little like pranks and things like that. I'm up the kitchen floor with cooking oil and things like that, and I'm still acting out like that. But I stuck it through. Towards the end of my treatment, my granddad passed away with like cancer, and it's just like, I was just like, fuck. But when my granddad had got diagnosed, within a couple of weeks, he'd got diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer, and he was dead within a couple of weeks. But in that period of a couple of weeks, it was the police that came, picked me up, and took me to the hospital to go and see him. I got to see my granddad before he died. I didn't get that with my nan. They couldn't find me because I was out in some crack house smoking crack. I didn't get to say goodbye to my nan. I got to say goodbye to my granddad. I got to see him like a couple of days before he died. I got to see him twice from that stage. And my granddad was probably the only positive role model I'd ever had in my life. Yeah. And like, I'd speak to my mum, and she's like, granddad just he's so amazed at how well you look. And like, he just keeps saying how proud of you he is, and it's just like, I was just holding on to that. I was in a lot of pain, and if I'm honest with you, like, I still like think, fucking, I wish you could see the things that I'm doing, which I'll go into in a minute. But it's like, then my behaviours have started to come back out. I'm getting defiant now. I'm in a lot of pain. Like, I started like engaging with a girl in there when I shouldn't have been. Like, we was talking, we were spending too much time. The like we had a communication ban, we weren't allowed to talk to each other, and
Yeah.
it was like, it's in a lot of pain, and like I needed somebody to tell me that I was okay.
Yeah.
And I was getting that from her. I've completed my treatment. I'm in aftercare. She's left. And then when I'm in aftercare, they're constantly drug testing me. Like, nobody else is getting drug tested. Only I'm getting drug tested. I'm getting frustrated with it. I've started trauma therapy as well at this point, which is another thing that they've done differently with me this time. They recognised, like, the police officer, to justify the money to pay for me again, she's had to go through my history, because you think about it, all the times I've been attacked through my life, all the times, you know, they've got that on record. She's had to go through that, and they've recognised that I'm going to need trauma therapy.
Yeah.
So they've put that in place, and talking to my therapist about it, saying, look, I don't get out, like, in a way, like, I've stayed out one night and I've got kicked out. I'm on the streets for 2 weeks for this, like, and so I'm kicked out, I'm homeless, but you know what, I still didn't fucking use me. It was like, I know where it's going to take me, and I had to get to my idea at this point is I'm going to get to Granddad's funeral clean, yeah, I'm going to get this done with, and then I can go and fucking use as much drugs as I want. And I've gone, like, I've managed to get to my Granddad's funeral clean, sober, looking fresh. I've gone out and spent £400 on a suit that I brought.
Yeah.
Nobody paid for it for me. I bought that myself. And I've got to carry his coffin, and yeah, I spoke at his funeral, man.
That's
like
amazing.
I got to speak at his funeral. Like, I never thought my family would ask me to do that, and they did. And then, like, after that, I'm like, I need to stay clean. I do. Like, this is what I want. Seeing my family proud of me, and I just thought, how can I continue to make them proud of me? This is then when I got introduced to New Hope. Like, somebody had mentioned it to me, I've mentioned it to the police, and Nottingham Police were trying to start just started the offender to rehab scheme in Nottingham. So I've sat down, had a coffee with Sharon, and she's like, look, they've got me to Derby. Told me I was going to Nottingham, by the way, lied to me. Said, you're going to Nottingham. Do you know why I wanted to go to Nottingham? Because someone told me the women outnumber men 5-1. So I'm like, right, I'm going to Nottingham. Settled, I'm going Nottingham. In a way, they took me Derby, dropped me off in Derby. Like, says, you're just going in there just to sign up, and then you'll be taken to Nottingham. Brought all my bags in. See you later.
You're there.
But they brought me to meet this other police officer from Nottinghamshire Police called Joe Baxter, and I said, look, man, I feel like I've got nothing to do, no purpose. I need something to do. I need something to focus. I need something to work towards. Yeah, it's all right being in recovery and doing meetings, because I do 12-step meetings and things like that, but I need something that's going to make me feel good.
Yeah.
And so she's agreed to, so we've met up in a way, like, so we've met up, and it all started with, like, a presentation that me and Joe did together, and it's called Through the Eyes of an Offender. So in this, I go into, like, what I'm looking for when I'm going out on the mooch. I'm talking about how I'm feeling, and it's all, you know, it's all in a presentation, and I'm giving examples of when compassion has stopped me from committing a crime, and then when being treated negatively has just urged me on to do it, and things like this. And we worked on that for a few weeks, and we went and delivered it at a Safer Business Action Day in Nottingham, and like, I've done it, and I've done, like, and I'm just like, wow, like, that standing ovation. And then, like, I met the police crime commissioner from Nottingham, and she was just amazed. People saying that they've changed the way they look at people that was in my situation, and I think he's a chief superintendent now, Suit something. And like, he said to me, so are you getting paid for this? I'm like, no, I'm volunteering. He's like, you need to be paid. We need to keep you close and keep you paid. So then I've started meeting Joe, like, I'm already meeting her regularly at this point, and we've started working at that. I've also started volunteering at Falcon Support Services. Like, Falcon learnt me a lot, I only knew how to conduct myself in front of criminals. And then going into a place where I have to be professional. You was there with me, bro. You know, you know what's going on. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, it's all a learning process. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to perfect anything. I want to be constantly practicing, because perfecting things, is very close mind. I want to keep learning. But anyway, so I've learned supporting people, the football, like, I loved it, mate. That inner child in me that felt so let down, is out now, and he's having fun. So that's the Falcon side of it. And then with the police, it's like, I've asked businesses now that want me to go privately and do walk rounds at stores and point things out that they could do better, and they've donated money to the offender to rehab. So I'm doing all this. I'm doing it all voluntary. I did it voluntary for about a year. Like events, I've gone to like the NEC and spoke for National Business Crime Solutions. Got interviewed by Tess Chapman, Channel 5 News presenter, like on stage there, and it's just like sometimes I'm like, wow, is this really fucking happening?
Got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. So, and mate, I've not even scratched the surface. And I'm like, so a part of my role with Nottingham, so I'm now in paid. So now I get paid.
Yeah.
I've got 8 hours a week from Nottingham Police. So I wanted, for something I've missed out as well. Also, I volunteer at a drug service. Volunteering has been massive for my recovery, and I suggest that anybody that has just come out of rehab, forget what people are saying to you, find some purpose in life. Yeah. Volunteering at something you like, mate, because it just helps so much when you're helping somebody. You're not focusing on yourself. Like, you know, it's really, you know, for me, that is the cornerstone of my recovery. Is the volunteering has been more helpful for me than anything else. The support that I've got from New Hope, Falcon Support Services as well, they continue to support me. Nottingham Recovery Network, NRN, they do. Nottingham Police. Like, with the work that I'm doing with Nottingham Police, like, I met a woman called Emma from Tesco's, and at this point now my PTSD is acting out. I'm getting really panicky, like I'm hyper vigilant, I'm having nightmares about the past, and my head's not in a very good place. And I've spoken to this woman, and she's turned around, she's going, well, you did trauma therapy, how was that? I was like, it was brilliant, but I was only funded for so long. So Tesco's have then paid for me to have more trauma therapy. Yeah. So what I'm doing, do you know what I mean? Look at that, like a business I used to steal from. I've invested into my future. Like it's you know, you get people that have come from what I've come that won't understand what I'm doing, why I do this with these businesses. Like, who else come and rescued me when my chips were down? Weren't the fucking drug dealers, was it? No. It weren't even the people I was hanging around with. My family couldn't do it. Yeah. These businesses, and they've never asked for anything in return, you know. This is on me. This is what I want to do. This is the path I want to go down. I enjoy it, do you know what I mean? Part of my role as well is like, now in Nottingham, we've got a couple of lads into rehab at this point, and I continue to support them. Like, I go visit them. I have phone calls with them a couple of times a week. Yeah. Now they've completed their treatment, both doing amazing, by the way, like so much. And like they think trauma therapy is offered to them as well. I continue to support them. I take them out, we go play pool, mate, and they say thank you to me. I'm like, you don't need, like, you are helping me more than what I'm helping you, because it gives me a purpose. You know what I mean? When I've got to make a phone call for them, it's like, right, I need to get up. This is what I need to do today. You know what I mean? It gives me a purpose, because me sat on my own, I'm dangerous, mate, because my head is a nuclear weapon. It just, so I talk to myself so negatively. And once I'm doing that, I'm not doing that. I'm not thinking with this, like, so I'm in constant battle with my conscience and my head. Do you know what I mean? Like, my head wants me to do certain things that I don't want to do. It's talking down to me. It's telling me I'm worthless. It still does this. Like, I'm going through more trauma therapy as we speak for it. I've had to go in for more, like, at this precise moment. I haven't been in a very good place lately, as you know. Yeah. I continue the work that I do with Nottingham Police, and it's like, I have people like I've had police officers that have been doing this work, yeah, for like 30, 40 years, come up to me and say like, I never ever thought about what that heroin addict was going through when I was arresting them. It was just to get them off the streets.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where I was sending them, and I will tell them where they're sending them. I'll tell them like it's this. Like, you can take the drug dealers out more going to come. You can arrest the addicts; they're going to get out of prison. Like, you need to treat the reason why these people are going out committing crime. And with people that are addicted and prolific offenders, the best if you take that addiction away from them, you'll find that most of them, like I haven't met one yet that has wanted to go out and commit crime after they've got clean. They're doing that to survive. It's the only way they know how to survive.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Like, just thanks for this today, James. You've been so in depth in regards to what you've been doing, where you've come from in your past. So you've come from complete madness. There's drugs involved. There's obviously, there's trauma, family problems as well in regards to parents. And, you've been through a lot of stuff, and you've just brought us through a whole timeline of your life. And throughout this whole timeline, I've been listening to you and I'm like, how the heck have you got to this end part? And it's clearly this is what I got from your whole story, is somebody believed in you. And that's it. They believed in you and didn't give up on you. And I really believe that it's such a powerful thing when someone believes in you and doesn't give up and goes, you know what, I see something in that person. You will get somewhere far. I think that, because we're all, as addicts, not just as addicts, just it could be anyone that's dealing with anything that is in recovery. People just give up on you and go, do you know what, there's no point helping him or her out. They're not getting the message, they're not getting it. But there is that one person that does believe in you and helps you and stands by you. And that's what this lady Sharon done for you, right?
Yeah. And not just Sharon as well, like Stuart too. He never give up. Mate, the geezer used to annoy me. Yeah. Like, after I relapsed, constantly, mate, geezer used to do mad. I've told him this, you know what I mean? It was not me that he said and he did. It was the addict in me. The addict said him because he root my using. Do you know what I mean? I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's all about planting seeds. Do you know what I mean? You just got to keep planting that seed, and you got to go and feed it a little bit, and you got to go and feed it a little bit. And I'm a big believer in once somebody's introduced to recovery, it will make their using that much more painful. That they will come back to recovery at some point. And the way I look at it, if somebody just comes back into recovery for two years, you've given a family peace of mind for 2 years. That person's going to be doing productive things in that period, like whether it's a month, whether it's a day, that intervention might save somebody's life.
Yeah, and someone believed in you, and that's just an amazing thing. Because most addicts that I hang around, most people that have been through trauma or have got something going on in their life, just beyond that, they are an amazing person. Like you said, you've got a loving and you was a caring person, but you had all of this stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? In front. And I notice if a lot of other people out there that, that may be going through or have been through what you've been through will be able to relate to you. That might not think they're worth something, but they flipping are. Do you know what I mean?
We're all human beings, aren't we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
they really are.
Some people can handle life, some people can't handle life, so they need an escape. It's not easy.
No. And the best way to do is hearing your story, hearing your sharing, and I know for a fact it will definitely encourage someone, bless someone on this show that's going to be able to go, do you know what, I relate with that guy, And as a positive, what I want to know is how long you've been clean for now?
17 months.
17 months.
And so clean and sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17 months.
And that is absolutely amazing, James. James, you know what? I absolutely take my hat off to you for being able to share openly and honestly with me today, and obviously with the listeners that are on here. And I really hope that somebody will be able to get something from your story, will be able to relate to your story. And I know there's going to be, you know, very proud parents, aka your mum, that's going to be very proud of you for what you've, you know, for what you've achieved. You've achieved so much.
Do you know, like mentioning parents, yeah, you see my mum, yeah, you know, I used to look into her eyes when I was using, all I could see was disappointment. Now, all I see is pride. Like, the pride she's got over me. Like, when I won my award, yeah, like, she was crying with happiness, you know.
Yeah.
That could be someone else's mum out there. They just, you know, they can just give themselves a chance. Man.
It's amazing. So, James, before you go, if there, you know, if you have any sort of advice or anything that you'd want to share with somebody maybe listening that might be struggling, or maybe not understand, or just what message would you be able to give to somebody that maybe going through an issue or some situation right now?
What have you got to lose? Like, nothing to lose, everything to gain. That lifestyle ain't going nowhere. It's always going to be there. You know, it's something that we have to live with. It's always there. It's always an option. But if you want an alternative way of life, just accept some help, you know, because I've always felt alone, but always thought I could do it on my own. Yeah. Like, it took me a long time to realise that on my own worse than me, and I can't do it on my own, so I had to accept some help.
Yeah. Nice one, James. James, thank you so much for coming on my show, man. Really, really appreciate it. And you take care. Cheers.